Hmm. So I'm sitting down here on this big rocky place, and I'm listening for vehicles because I don't want to start a video of a vehicle that's coming. They don't come very often, but anyways. Yeah, I have to be careful with this camera. I don't use this one all that often because it's so easy to get your fingers. You could see from the last blog post that I did, my fingers are in the picture sometimes because it's so easy to get your fingers in the picture with this camera. Yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this electric trend, electric vehicles and electric motorcycles and e-bikes, you know, these battery powered vehicles that are coming out now. Um, for one thing, I think they really jumped the gun on these electric vehicles because the biggest part, the worst drawback from all these electric vehicles is that battery technology is just not good enough yet. You know, you'll see a lot of these electric vehicles, whether they be cars, trucks, motorcycles, or e-bikes, saying how far they can go, you know, and usually it's a really overestimate. You know, they'll say they can go 100 kilometers an hour on, like the e-bikes, for example. They say they can go 100 kilometers an hour. What they don't tell you is that that's on flat land or even downhill, who knows, and it's pedaling as hard as you can at the highest level. That'll give you 100 kilometers maybe on a day that's not too windy. Yeah, they really overestimate the range on these things. Even with cars, they do the same thing. But that's not the only drawback. I mean, they're all using lithium batteries, and no matter what type of battery you use, the thing about batteries is it's not like putting gas in an internal combustion engine. You always get the same amount of distance out of it for the most part over the years. But batteries, they lose the ability to take a charge over the years, you know? I mean, if you buy a new electric vehicle, 5 years later, that battery is not going to hold the same charge, which will not give you the same range, you know? So after 5 years, but with internal combustion engines like we have now, gasoline engines, um, you know, you could have a vehicle for 20 years and you could still get the same distance pretty well anyways, if you keep it in good maintenance, with the same amount of gas. And another thing is, when the battery does run out and you have to charge it, it's not like you could just go in for a few minutes, put gas in a vehicle and take off right away. You got to wait, you know? That's really inconvenient for a lot of, well, for most folks, I think it would be. You got to wait until the thing charges. I know they're coming up with faster chargers, but I think that with these batteries we have right now, trying to charge it too fast is only going to make the battery wear out faster. So, you know, I think all these battery powered things, they really jumped the gun on them, you know, and I don't think they're going to catch on. I think that when people see how many drawbacks there are with electric vehicles, they're not going to buy them unless they're forced to. And this is the thing that the communist government we have is going to force on us, you know. Communist Trudeau, he's going to be forcing it on. He's going to say, well, the dealers cannot, or the manufacturers cannot make internal combustion engines anymore, and you'll be forced to buy an inferior vehicle that you have to stop and charge for a long time, and the battery wears out. If you have to buy a new battery for one of those electric vehicles, you might as well just buy a new vehicle because that's how much they cost. So yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. The only way they're going to get people to use them is to force them to use them. And that's exactly what this communist government is going to do. So take note. I was looking at e-bikes, and I was actually interested in getting an e-bike for using on the ATV trails and the back roads, you know, up here. And the one I was looking at was around $2,000. I hear a vehicle coming. I'll talk about this later then. Well, he might be still far away. Yeah, the one I was looking at was around $2,000. It's a nice looking bike and everything. But, you know, when I consider battery technology and the fact that they really overestimate the range of these things, you know, I have pause, let's say. So that idea is on hold. I was building a battery for my own bicycle. I was going to add well, I have an e-bike actually. I keep on forgetting about that. I bought it on a whim, you know, and it does work. But the lead acid batteries that came with it, of course, they're no good. They died. I was building a lithium battery for it. But the problem, another problem with these electric vehicles, and the problem I had building the battery, there's real high risk of uncontrollable fires with these things, you know. And I think, yeah, I've seen some stories in the news already about these electric vehicles, whether it be cars or motorcycles or e-bikes, all of a sudden bursting into flames. And we've seen that with laptops and even with cell phones, you know. So that's another thing to consider. I think if these things get more popular, we're going to see more fires. And those fires, they're not easy to put out once they start. And they can really explode into flames, and it's hard to get them out. So that's another thing to consider. Anyways, I just don't think that the world is ready yet for battery-powered vehicles. The technology is just not there. I see a car coming way down there. Anyways, this is a long enough video. That's my rant for the day.